I was sitting at some random table, listening to a guy I barely knew, when he said something that hit me like a punch to the gut. He spoke, almost whispering, like someone confessing a crime. I do everything right, but it feels like I'm always tired inside. It wasn't physical tiredness, it was something else, an invisible weight, a pressure you can't pinpoint, but that never goes away. And the strangest thing is that almost everyone I meet carries exactly this. People who work, who try, who do what they say is right, and yet feel that something is wrong. You know why? Because we've been trained to accumulate. Not just things, but identities, expectations, fears, false versions of who we are. From childhood, someone starts telling you who you are, and you believe it. You are like this, you're not good at this, you were never made for that. And without realizing it, you build a prison using other people's words as bricks. Most of the weight you feel today doesn't come from your life. It comes from the version of yourself you're still trying to maintain. I needed to break mine. For years, I repeated a story to myself. That I wasn't the kind of person who thrives, who grows, who creates something great. I said this as if it were a law of nature, until the day I stopped and realized something disturbing. I had never chosen to believe it. I had only inherited it. And when you inherit a lie early enough, it starts to seem like the truth. There's a moment in life when you need to commit a kind of betrayal. Betray the version everyone expects you to be. Betray the character you created to survive. Betray even who you think you are. Because if you don't do that, you spend the rest of your life trying to be true to something that's already dead. Most people aren't tired of life. They're tired of maintaining an identity that no longer fits. And along with that identity comes another silent trap. The need to control everything, to control how things will happen, to control how others will react, to control the future. But when you try to control life, you stop living it. You become a desperate screenwriter trying to write every scene before it happens. I've lived like that, rehearsing conversations, anticipating scenarios, trying to avoid any surprises. And you know what that creates? Anxiety, frustration, exhaustion. Because life doesn't obey, it responds. You only control one thing, what you do. The rest is attachment disguised as responsibility. When you let go of the outcome, something strange happens. You become more present, more dangerous, more powerful. And that's when things start to move. But none of that works if your mind is being bombarded all day long. We've entered an era where humanity's greatest addiction isn't drugs or alcohol. It's stimulation, news, opinions, comparisons, images, tragedies, promises. Your mind never rests, and a mind that is never silent begins to confuse noise with truth. You no longer think, you react, and the more you react, the more lost you become. Then another prison enters, comparison. You look at other people's lives and feel you're behind, but you never see the price they pay. Only the stage, never the backstage. Comparison is an elegant form of psychological torture. It makes you despise your own journey while idolizing that of others. And when you live like that, nothing is ever enough. Not your achievements, not your progress, not even you. And as if that weren't enough, there's also the rush. This unhealthy urgency to want everything now, as if life were a download button. But nothing worthwhile grows fast. What grows fast breaks fast. Deep roots take time, and those who can't stand the test of time never build anything that lasts. Most people give up not because they aren't capable, but because they are impatient. And then comes another fear that controls more lives than you can imagine, the fear of judgment. When someone criticizes you and you crumble, it's not because the criticism is strong. It's because it touched on something you already doubted in yourself. The more you know yourself, the less power other people's opinions have. You stop explaining yourself. You stop defending yourself. You stop asking permission to exist. And that's liberating, because those who live justifying themselves are living in the court of other people's minds. And in the midst of all this, you still fight against your own thoughts. But thoughts are not facts. They are echoes, memories, old programming. The mind speaks all the time. Freedom begins when you stop believing everything it says. You are not the voice, you are the listener. And when you realize this, even the darkest thoughts lose their power to control you. Finally, there is a self-sabotage that almost no one notices. The inability to receive. You can give, strive, work. But when something good comes, you retreat. A compliment, an opportunity, love. Deep down, your art still believes you don't deserve it. And as long as you don't allow yourself to receive, nothing will remain. Prosperity isn't just about chasing after it, it's about having the courage to accept it. In the end, all of this is just layers, old identities, old fears, old habits. And you don't need to rip them all off at once. Just the one that weighs you down the most today, because when you let go of one, something inside you starts to breathe again. And that changes everything.